everyone, this is Tony Geraci, and thank you very much for watching Real Estate Leaders with Tony Geraci and my good friend David Finale. So again, another Tuesday, episode 5 already. First 5 already on. And I'm
awesome.
getting a lot of great response from agents, people sending me some instant messages and some texts that are watching it. So that is great. And I have a few people that are sending me ideas on future topics. So if you have any ideas or thoughts, I'll either one, let you know when our future topic will be covering that, or two, we might be incorporate that. But today our topics again are pillars of business and your sources of business, types of prospecting, getting started, and tools you can use. So I know we keep on talking about prospecting. That's all of the time. It's gonna come up almost every single one of our topics.
Absolutely, because prospecting is like the base of life in our business. I mean, one way or the other. Look, if you build up your business to a point where what you do is you're prospecting. That's what you hope in 3 to 5 years, that you're not you're prospecting, but you're not actively going out there and prospecting because the business is coming to you.
Right. And if it's easy for you, you don't even realize you're doing it. Do you feel that makes someone, when it's so easy, they don't even know they're prospecting or networking, it just works seamlessly in their daily lives? Does that kind of go along with your sources and your pillars of business?
So first of all, are you sure that we're on live and we're broadcasting? Because I see nothing and I don't see. You see it?
Yep, we are live.
Okay, cool. So when I talk about sources of business, it's all about the basics. Like, number one for me, your pillars of business, sources of business, kind of like the same thing, but as you build your pillars, your sources of business are going to expand from those pillars. So let's talk about what a pillar is, right? So after you've built your structure and you've got your footing and now you're building your foundation. You've built your footing so you know what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it. You know how you're responding to people, et cetera, through a CRM. You've got some systems and processes set up. Now it's really time to really put the pedal to the metal and start working it. So number one, your pillar of number one base source of business, in my opinion, is going to be your sphere of influence. And I know there's every coach and trainer out there is going to say closely the same thing. And then there's the contra people that are going to say, nope, that's just ridiculous. Well, it's not ridiculous, because you'd rather work with the people you know, like, and trust. And people on your sphere of influence are kind of like that. At least, the top tier, the A people, are going to be the people that know, like, and trust you already. You just need to show them that you know what you're talking about in the business of real estate. You know what I mean, Tone?
Right. Do you think that I always stress that if you could get those when you keep on going to know, like, and trust you, if you're networking and prospecting in ways that you somewhat enjoy, that doesn't have to be work all the time. So hopefully the people trust, and they're going to refer you, that you might be in groups, you're hanging out, you're going places, you're volunteering, you're have other things that you're involved with in your community and your friends and your relatives and things. Because it can't all be hard work. What would your suggestions be on that? Your pillars of business and source of business.
I think one of the most important things that people need to understand, and I believe that this is why the contra people talk about it in a negative way, is because everybody thinks that we're asking our sphere of influence for business, and we're just not doing that. This is the SOI method. This is what I've always coached and taught, is that you're not going to ask them for a referral. You're not going to come right out and say, hey, you want to buy a house, or hey, I got this great investment. No. Those were the 90s. Those were the 80s, right? Those were you selling vacuum cleaners door to door, right? You're not doing that any longer. What you're doing is you're having conversations. You're building relationships. You're being more relational than transactional, right? So if you're looking for a transaction, you can put an ad out there and you can get leads. I mean, that can be one of your sources of business. As a matter of fact, in one of my programs, in all of my programs, the first thing I teach new agents is how to get leads. Because
Right.
I mean, we got to start business, right? But if you're going to start talking to real estate agents, I'm sorry, to get business, they've got to be able to start talking to the people they know in a manner which is comfortable and easy. Because let's face it, just as you said, if they don't like how they're doing it, they're not going to do it.
Right. Exactly. Right? And if you have pillars, I mean, how much do you have a thought or an idea, a percentage of, like you say, hey, where should you be socializing? If you said, hey, if someone says, I'm not involved in anything, give a couple of your ideas on where someone would start. Like, what should I do to start talking to people?
Simple. First of all, you need to build your list. Okay. You need to build your sphere of influence list, number one. And that's your family, your friends, your acquaintances, and your services. Let's just start right there. Your past clients, your current clients, and your future clients. We're not going to talk about future. That's another story. That's another session.
Right.
But the point is that you need to make sure that you connect with them on all social media channels. Most importantly, Facebook and Instagram, and anywhere else that you can find them, LinkedIn, Snapchat, YouTube, anywhere else you can find them, Pinterest as well. But when you friend them all, you connect with them on Facebook, you now have a basis. If you've got 200, that's an extra 200 friends. Now, is that your base? Yes, it is. You can start using the old ways, which is, some direct mail, some phone calls, some handwritten thank you notes as you talk to them.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you the easy way and the simplest way and the biggest chickenish way is to start connecting with them as a direct message through Facebook and direct and DMs through Instagram. Just saying, hey, how are you? It's either going to start as a, hey, how you doing, or an apology. And what I mean by an apology is, hey, you know what? I haven't talked to you in a long time. So sorry for that. Sorry I haven't been in touch. What's going on? I see you now and then on social media. Let's catch up with a cup of coffee or a drink next week. Right. That is one way to connect. And you want to connect. Now, look, we talk about the sphere of influence all the time. And I just said set up an appointment to have coffee with them. I didn't say set up an appointment to ask them for business. Hey, they're your friends. Right. And the more and more I teach and coach this, I realize in my own life where I have a little bit failed, where I should have kept in touch with a lot of different people.
Right.
So I am doing my best now to reconnect with people I've known over the years, and not for business. I'm not doing it for that, but most people need to do that because, hey, you know what? They meant something to you one time or another. Reconnect with them, have coffee with them. Right. And I'm not saying the entire 200 in a month. I'm saying maybe you got 10 people will refer you. Those are the 10 people you're going to concentrate on out of the 200 or 300 or 400.
You got to build it every week. Do you have any suggestions on what you feel, what someone should say to someone for the first time, the second time they talk to them, third time, just to say, remind them in real estate? Because before you answer that, I stress, and it came up twice yesterday with agents, is that I'm doing what you're saying, but I just had a family member come in town and they're starting to look for houses. They didn't call me first. I said, well, you have to remind them actually what they have to do to get you involved in their real estate business. So if you just say, I'm in real estate, keep me in mind, they don't realize, well, I'm just going to go to a few open houses. So I say to all agents is that you got to somewhere get in there, tell people, please do not call or text or communicate with another real estate agent before you call me at any time in the process. I don't know if you agree with that or if you have any other suggestions.
No, absolutely. If you haven't been in touch with them a long time, it can be that apology I spoke about. It can be, hey, how you doing? But it can also say, hey, look, if you're new in the business, here's one way. Look, I just want to let you know, I've just got into the real estate business. I'm really, really excited. I don't seem to have some of your information. Could you respond with your name, address, and phone number? Name, email address, and phone. Email address and phone number, because you already got their name, right? So I could send you some stuff from time to time. Here you've reinforced that you're really excited about what you're doing. You're in the real estate business. You want their information. 30% are going to give you that information. Or you can say, look, just when you talk to them, say you pick up the phone. Sometimes you want to ask for permission. Hey, do you mind if I talk about business for a second? If they're good, really, really close or family or whatever. Yeah, right? Other people, it's just going to be, I just want to remind you, I'm in the real estate business. If you know of anybody I can help, let me know. Notice I said, if you know anybody, I did not say, you know anybody looking to buy or sell, let me know. I said, if you know of anybody I can help. It's not pushy. It gets the point across. And you know what? You're asking to help people.
Yeah. How about, do you suggest asking people if they feel comfortable asking them when they might buy or sell a house? So if someone says, hey, yeah, oh yeah, definitely, we'll call you. I'll keep you in mind. Well, any timeline? Is this a year, 10 years? Are you in your house for life? What do you feel about asking that question?
I think it's really important to know what your friends and family are doing. And that's why the reconnection part is very important, because you'll find out what their situation is. You'll know what their kids are doing. You know, if they have kids, you know where they're living, what their thoughts are. And that's well figured out over a cup of coffee or something. But to ask them what they're doing, there's no problem with that either. You just don't want to be a pest. Now, in my opinion, I believe you should have a conversation, whether it's phone or in person, 4 times a year, plain and simple. I believe you should be contacting them, once a month, one way or the other, and following up with them. I'm looking at the old 30 to 40 connections a year, right?
Wow.
And
including
yeah, because
all right.
you want to be the guy, you want to be the gal, you want to be the professional. But Tony, I'm not talking about sending them all kinds of crap. I'm talking about being informative of what's going on. You can send an email newsletter to your friends. That's fine, because they're going to see it and they're going to say, hey, this guy really loves his business. If they're friends, acquaintances, you don't know. But the point really is really simple, is these people are not going to be offended because they already know you. They like you. They're in business with you. And look at other service people. Let's talk about cross promotion as well. If you've got like a landscaper, or you've got a cleaners, and they have lists,
right?
Hey, say, hey, look, you know what? If you tell 5 people about me, I'll cross promote you in my list. I'll let you borrow my list to connect with them, unless you have an agreement with the people on your list not to do that, right?
Right. Exactly. That's a pillar of businesses, other businesses, and a lot of agents forget about that.
Right. Exactly. So, to get to your point, this is really an important point, because it's where people miss it, and where people get nervous about talking to their sphere of influence, is about asking for the business, because everybody says you have to ask for the business, and that is so true.
Right.
Let's be honest, however, that it's important to make sure that you've got a relationship with these people, that they understand who you are, what you are. So many times in my years of owning a brokerage, which is 21 years, I had agents come in and say, can you believe my friend of my cousin bought a house, didn't call me? He forgot about me. I'd say, no, you forgot about them.
Right.
Your point is to stay in touch with them, to stay in a situation where you're always going to be at the right place at the right time. And what you say is important. Letting them know and asking them for the business from time to time is a good thing.
And also following people in regard to their families, because a lot of times agents forget that. They stop at that contact. So one of the tips can be, when you have friends in your certain age of your life, doesn't matter age of life, but you have friends, relatives, and they have children, their children's source of dad, mom, what should I do? And so, and this is prospecting is a marathon. This is a whole career of prospecting, being there at the right time, at the right place, and keeping your name in front of them. And then, so if you have friends, if any of the agents are watching, if you have friends, if you have this list, now what do I do? Now add to that list. Now every single person should, if they have kids, if they're in college, if they're getting jobs, if they're moving out of state, if you're watching them on social media, there's life-changing events. I see through my Facebook and my social media all the time. I'm seeing someone's having a baby, someone's getting married, someone just graduated from college. That's the time to reach out to these people and then restart up the list.
Absolutely,
speed up the list.
Absolutely. I got a real good buddy of mine that used to work in my brokerage, and now and I've coached with him, and this is exactly how he's built his business. He watches what people are doing on social media, and he responds to them when there's an event or something goes on, or they post something, right? And he does it in a cyclical, and he also does it in a strategic manner, and has built his business from, a really good business to breaking a ceiling and going to the next level. So it's really important. I mean, you can do it on social media, you can do it on Facebook, and you can also do it on Instagram, because you're going to see it.
Right.
if you're on there. The important part, the other way to connect on social media is your posting. Your posting is important, and I've been talking about this a little bit lately too, is that your posting is so important that it needs to be, again, relevant content. It needs to be relevant to what your people are, and what's relevant to your sphere of influence is going to be relevant to the people you want to work with. You know, we're talking about the pillars of business, right? So those pillars of business can be FSBOs, expireds, you know, open houses, circle prospecting, a lot of different things that you can do, right? But I'm going to tell you that once you realize who your customer is and who you want to work with, your content's going to be relevant to all of them.
Sure. And what tools would you have agents start with?
As far as what? As far as
basically it's prospecting. If someone's out there and going, well, you know, I've been using a spreadsheet, or I haven't even really started, or just using my phone. Is there any specific tools that you would have? I mean, we have our, you know, CRMs, we have our direct mail systems, we have, you know, direct message and Facebook and social media posts, or anything outside of the things that we've already been talking to, anything else they can use to tools or systems. They don't have
to maintain your list. Number one, you need a CRM and an Excel spreadsheet. Why an Excel spreadsheet? Because you know what? Sometimes it's just going to be easier to open up that spreadsheet and put a name in the column just real quickly, right? Rather than open up your CRM and go into, okay, I got to do this, I got to click here. Sometimes CRMs can be a pain in the ass, right?
Or just a backup.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? So my point is, I mean, the CRM to use is the one you're going to use, the one you're going to find that you're able to work with. And look, you're not going to use everything in it, so you don't have to spend a lot of money. But that is where you want to keep everything. You want to keep everything organized, and make sure you write down everything you do. Yes, this is a business, this is a job, and this is called work, and you need to make sure you know who you're talking to. Right? Is that what you're asking?
Right.
So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you. Go ahead.
Basically, one of the other things I've been trying to tell agents to do is that you could be. Sometimes I get this is that they want to feel genuine. So about what they're doing, but you have to be strategic about it too, even though these are your family and your friends. So I have agents that just feel uncomfortable going, I talked to my cousin this date and this is what we talked about, and put a little brief thing, and we talked about their children. You know, I talked about this and that. They just feel like genuine. They want to keep it all in their head, like it's all off the cuff. So
let me ask you
suggestions about that, to be genuine, but also be thorough in your note taking and keeping track of all of this.
Well, let me ask you this, Tony. If you and I hadn't talked to each other for a few months, and we've been friends for a while, and you and I have been friends for a while, would you feel weird talking to me about what's going on? No, you wouldn't. And the concern about genuine I get is because I believe that we're so worried about what they're going to say. And this word known as script, because they're all worried about what their scripts are. Now, it's important to know your scripts, but it's also important not to use your scripts.
Right.
That's kind of a convoluted statement. I get that. But I think if they remember who they are and who they're talking to, you know, writing down what's going on in someone's life that you don't communicate with a lot is kind of important. Because you don't want to sound like an idiot, because they're going to remember your conversation with them that they told you. And because you're doing it in business is probably where you're a little bit uncomfortable, where you're not remembering everything. I know that's for me, and I know that I need to write that stuff down, and I do with every possible lead and every possible real estate agent I talk to. I have books of notes. I can go back and find someone that I talked to a year and a half ago. I'm not going to remember what I talked to them about, but I've got it written down, and I'm going to look at it.
I think it's more along the lines of people, if you're saying, I'm going to call a friend, a relative, a past business acquaintance, or someone on a specific date for a social reason that not 100% business, sometimes people feel uncomfortable with that. That's like fake. But you're in a business. You got to do that. You got to do that. And it's not fake. You're just reminding yourself when you got to check in, you know?
Right. You know, I got to tell you, I mean, I hear that point and I think about something about what I said earlier and how important it is for me to reconnect with people I haven't talked to in a while. You know, it's funny. I was thinking of an old friend of mine I spent an awful lot of time with. We had about a 5 to 8 year period where we spent a lot of time together, and I haven't seen the guy in 15 years. Right. And I was thinking about him the other day, and today I had run a couple errands and I drive by. I see his mother waiting for a bus. I said, holy cow, that reminds me to call this guy. And I'm going to find, I don't know where he is. I could stop and ask his mother, which I probably will do. But you know what? You want to be in touch with the people you know. And that's the point I'm making. And connecting with everybody. I mean, if they meant something to you, look, if it's just for business and you keep them as friends, okay, I get that. Here's the thing that you want to remember. If you are uncomfortable and it doesn't sound right to you, remember pace and tone and body language. Now, body language is something we get. You can see from me because we see each other right now and people can see us. They can see our body language, right?
Right.
But you can also see body language on the phone. You can also see body language through your text and through your postings. Body is in quotes, obviously, right?
Right.
But the important part is your pace and tone. You need to slow down because you talk fast and you're not used to talking fast. You're selling. If you're talking and this is all good for anybody, any kind of prospecting, by the way.
Right.
Talk in a beat tone. Even if you need a metronome, get a metronome to talk so you have a pace and you have a certain tone about you. See, these are the things you don't get most of the time in your trainings where you're taught how to talk.
How to communicate,
right? So this is so important in all of your prospecting in every pillar.
Right. Well, what do you feel about our tips on how people could be more involved in their communities and another source of business? Because I suggest when you get involved, like example, you have a past business acquaintance and you're calling, and it's sometimes hard for people to break that barrier between business acquaintance and friend. And like, what do I, how often do I talk to this business, past business, and break that barrier of being just business and being friends? That takes time and effort, and it's different for everybody to be, that friend, that trusted person outside of just business. But if you're involved in community or volunteer for things, then you get to meet with these people on a consistent basis because you're involved in a charity or a group or a community, and you have the same thing to talk about all of the time.
Right.
So I don't know if you've ever given that suggestion or have any thoughts on that. So it's another pillar of business. Get involved in something. It's something that meets once a month. You get to see these people once a month. It's not you doing it. You're not saying, hey, meet me once a month. And you have something to talk about each time. And if you do that and you have different groups and they're different people and they're not all realtors, because you're not going to get business from realtors.
That's right.
I give that tip out a lot. I mean, do you agree with that?
Absolutely agree with it 100%. I mean, if there's something that you want to work on and that you have some interest in. Now, a lot of people will get involved in these groups and stuff just for business. And if they handle it properly, that can be fine. But I always say that if you're going to, for me, right, if I'm going to get involved in a group or in a committee, or, if the local mayor asks me to do something, I'm going to get involved and I'm actually going to work. I only want to be involved with something if I can actually physically contribute. Look, I've been on committees in towns and stuff, and 20 people on the committee and only 2 people are doing work. I'm always one of them.
Right.
I just don't have the time to waste if I'm not going to be. First of all, if you're asked to be on a committee, they have something they think about you. They think positively about you. If you actually go on that committee, have a responsibility, and it is a responsibility for you and your business to be involved in that in whatever you're doing. But to get involved in groups in local areas is really, really important. It works. I mean, it's great You get involved. People get to know who you are. You're walking down the street, people say hi to you. You don't know who they are. It's the same as doing video in your town, being a digital mayor. This is just another way to promote yourself, and you're promoting your business secondarily, because no matter where you go, say you have a name badge, wear it everywhere you go. Right. Especially to those meetings. They're going to know what you do for a living. It helps.
It's just another way to get in front of other people that you might not have. And it's something hopefully you'll enjoy. You're giving back. So it could be, like you said, your community, your church, your kids' school, for dads out there or moms out there that want to coach their kids' teams, soccer, basketball, around that parent. It's more things to connect with people, and it's something you want to do. And I always bring up when my kids were little, and I would help coach their teams and communicate with parents about practices and games through text and email. I always picked up 3 or 4 transactions every year over just coaching a team because of, you're in real estate. And it's all, passive, because my email address is there and they see my email address or see my text with my signature in it or something. So I always picked up business from that. And then it was just because I was involved.
Well, yeah, and that's so important. And that's, we've been talking about pillars of business and sources, types of prospecting, and we talked a little bit about getting started. And this is one of your pillars, would be being involved in the community, being a coach. That could be one of your sources of business, though it's not your main one, but it does sister along really nicely with your sphere of influence.
Exactly. So one of the things to get started is to get involved in something. If you have some time, get involved in something. Give it a try, something that you might be interested, or at least give them back. And you might be very surprised. You might actually enjoy it, and you're giving back to the community or a school or a charity or your church or something.
Exactly. I did that when my kids were in school. I was on different committees. I built a media room for them. And, I was very well known in the community because of the work I did at their schools. I want to go back. I want to go into the last thing we were going to talk about today, and I don't want to forget because I know we're running out of time, is tools.
Sure.
Right? I know you asked me a little bit about that earlier. Tools. I mean, the tools for your business are, as we said, I said CRM, and I said maybe an Excel spreadsheet. Now, I'm also talking about, let's look at some technology, right? And you need to start advancing yourself as time goes on into the realm of technology by utilizing social media, which we'll always talk about. And yes, Facebook and Instagram are tools, but there's other tools and other apps out there that will make life a lot easier for you. You're going to find more move up buyers and move down buyers on Facebook, and you're going to find more first time home buyers on Instagram, plain and simple, because of the age ranges that are around there. So one of the tools that I've started using, and I have to really schedule to do it once a week, is an app called WordSwag. WordSwag is something where you can put text and you can superimpose images on top of images, and for Instagram. And okay, so the next thing to work with that is an app called Later. Later is a posting app for Instagram, which you can schedule posts the time of day for Instagram, and it doesn't come out like there's Hootsuite, right? You've heard of Hootsuite,
right?
For Facebook, but it says posted by Hootsuite. This does not say that.
So which one was that? That was the last one. What was that called?
Later.
Okay.
So you go to later.com, WordSwag. These are apps for your phone, and you can sign up for later.com on your computer for your phone to do your different postings. But one of the things you can do is you can post in stories, you can post on your timeline, on your feed on Instagram, and I think eventually that's also going to be around for Facebook as well. But those are a couple of really, really good tools to stay in touch, to post relevant content, to post images, to post memes, to post things about what's going on with your life. And you can do video. I believe you can do video as well. Right. And let's face it, video is where it's at. I mean, with all the changes with social media, especially Facebook, Facebook wants video. They're not going to push much text, but if you've been around a long time and you've been posting for a long time and people are used to your text is going to be fine, but you can't do it a lot. So, there's different things you want to do. You want to make sure you're putting stuff up that's going to that's going to a great tool is Facebook for awareness. Now, Tony, you posted the thing about what was that the calendar?
Oh yes, I got to get back to that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because
Right.
you have great interaction with that, right? Now you're
Right.
saying, well, Dave, what does that have to do with business? Nothing and everything.
Right.
You're just connecting with people. You're just putting stuff out there. I mean, I've got posts, and I haven't done it in a while either, where I got a photo of Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's, and Jack in the Box, and I say which one's got to go, right? Or which one do you choose? So it's just interaction. It's just funny stuff that has no social meaning at all, but it's fun. You're a fun person. Everybody likes to smile, so make people smile as well.
Right, and all good things, like asking people about that or their favorite music or anywhere that they're going to, they feel like they are being heard. They like, my favorite song is this, or band's this, or my favorite place to eat is this, or just what's going on in your community. Do you like this restaurant over that restaurant? All good stuff. We're not talking about things that are going to get people angry. You don't want to talk about that. And I found over the years, asking people's opinion on what they think of things gets the most response. And I think, and I think you've seen it too, and have read it too with Facebook. You have to communicate with people. You can't just send out stuff like, and that's it. You got to talk to people that are communicating with you with more text. You can't just like, or just going to go down your search. So another tip is you got to have conversations with people within your posts to stay up on top.
That's absolutely it. Because here's the thing. Okay, right now you and I are doing this conversation. This is conversational social media here. And if you made a comment, and if someone comments on your post,
right,
it's like you saying something right now and me just staring at the screen.
Right. Right.
Not responding at all. Right. Right. Exactly.
Right.
You need to do that. And it's not just, okay, I like that. No, no, you can't. And here's the other thing. Here's what I challenge everybody. Actually have something to say about it rather than thank you or nice or great job or that looks good, or have a sentence, have something else. Hey, that looks good. Man, I love doing that stuff. How often do you go skateboarding or whatever it is? Have something to say about it. And here's another thing. Did you know that you can actually comment with a video? Try that.
I did not know that. See, now I'm going to start doing that.
So what you do is I challenge you, Tony, as well,
I will
record the video really quick, and then you upload it just like a photo to the comment.
That's great. I did not know that. I have to try that. I mean, people, they need to see more videos of me, right, Dave? Yeah, they don't see enough videos.
They don't see enough of me, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But no, I mean, but you got to understand that there's so many freaking tools out there, right? And here's the important part. I think the most important thing we have to look at is one of the things real estate agents are always looking for is instant gratification.
True.
You know what? Unless you're putting out an ad, you're actually putting an ad for a certain response for that instant gratification, don't expect it. It's just like, I'm sure you've had the same thing. I've had agents send out 1,000 postcards. So you talk to them a couple weeks later and say, how'd that work out? Not a call. What a waste of money. And I say, okay, you sent out 1,000 postcards. How did you follow up on those postcards? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean?
Right.
You can't expect instant gratification, or you have to go after it. You have to have a plan, right? It's the same with sphere of influence. I mean, there's so many ways to communicate, especially, the old ways, which are direct mail, phone call, handwritten note. It
just takes time. We got to keep doing it. It's kind of like you get lucky if you get someone at the right time, right place. You're talking to the right person. If you talk to any successful realtor, they'd say a lot of times it's just right place, right time. But you got to increase your opportunity of being there at the right place and right time and doing it. And you got to consistently do it over months, years, a whole career. And it will work. It does pay off. It doesn't. It doesn't. It always does.
Yeah, but it's being consistent with something. It's just like I use the thought process of Bud Light, right? And I probably used it last week, and I'll use it every week if I have to. If Bud Light stopped advertising, if Anheuser-Busch stopped advertising, they wouldn't sell much beer. If at the same time they stopped advertising, I had my own beer called Dave's Light Beer, and I advertised, took their spots, we would sell tremendous amount of Dave's Light Beer simply because I'm going to be consistent with it, and Bud Light decided not to be consistent with it anymore. Consistency is the key. It's the biggest word you need to understand.
Well, good. Well, hey, we hit that half-hour mark, Dave. So, so next week, September 10th, here we're again going to. Well, maybe we'll give a little bit more specifics. You think we could do a little bit more specifics exactly what to do with exposures, exposure the old way, social media, which ones, how often, and doing it. Do you think we could get into more specifics? Like
Sure.
give people a little, like I like to give agents a little social media workout.
We're gonna do a social media exposure workout next week, and this is all we're gonna talk about. The other stuff, everything that you just mentioned, is everything we're gonna do. We're gonna do it in easy shots. I want everybody to come who's gonna watch this or will watch this to be ready with their phone to start doing different types of videos, because we're gonna do at least 2 different types of videos live. You're gonna do 2. I'm gonna do 2, and we're gonna post them as we're gonna do it right here
Awesome.
live. Okay, I'm gonna show you what equipment you need, which is not much. You need this thing. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips that we can post, and a couple of tips that will market you, and 1 or 2 tips that will get you noticed and get a wow factor at a listing appointment.
Awesome. That's
How about
specific.
that?
So next week, definitely specifics to help everybody. That's great. So
Right.
good. Well, Dave, thank you for your time and all your
welcome, man.
information. Always great to have you here. And everybody watching, thank you very much for watching. Next week's going to be an awesome show, so don't miss it, 11 o'clock next Tuesday. And again, thank you, everyone, and we'll see everybody soon. Bye-bye.
Everybody.